Hey, what's up? This is Gary from Raz Rentals. Way back on September 24th, Hasbro released this awesome Ghostbusters 2-pack on their Hasbro Pulse website. It was up for a couple of days before it sold out, and I think I ordered mine on the 26th. It comes in this very nice slipcase. And when you take it off, inside you have this cool two-pack of Louis Tully and Vinz Clortho. So let's take a look at the packaging a little bit, and then I'm going to pop this sucker open and talk about what's inside. Now, as you can see in the background here, you get this really cool red picture, and you can see Louis and Dana's apartment building. Just like every other Ghostbusters Plasma series figure, it comes in this kind of like beige Ghostbusters uniform color. And, you know, like certain things on here, like this patch and the name tag here, they look very 3D. They look like they have a very nice texture on them, and they have a lot of stitches, so they appear like they're patches. On the side, you have this very nice, you know, artsy kind of drawing. I don't know if this is Art Deco. On the back, you got a nice picture of Louis running, and over here you got him with his cool little Colander helmet that Egon gives him when he's, you know, studying him in the firehouse. So originally this went up for sale on September 24th, 2020. It took a couple days for it to sell out. It wasn't instant like, you know, some toys. It originally cost $49.99 plus shipping and handling, and it was a limited edition 2-pack. I think originally at first this was planned to be like an exclusive for a Comic-Con or something like that, but, you know, because of the current situation, we couldn't have those. And so, you know, it took me a little bit to be sold on this thing, and eventually I decided to pull the trigger, and I got it in the mail, and, you know, now I'm going to open it up and talk about what's going on inside. Now, here's something pretty cool about the packaging here. You have this nice picture on the slipcase. You have this nice picture of Louis standing next to his bedroom door, and he probably just heard the terror dog inside growl, and he's going, "Okay, who brought the dog?" And then you take that off, and inside you got this awesome picture of the terror dog crashing through the door. Okay, so I got these guys out. Now, my first impression of these guys is I really like this Louis Tully. This is the third Ghostbusters 1 Louis we've gotten. We got one with Mattel, with Matty. We got one with Diamond Select. And now we got one with Hasbro. So each movie line has its own Louis. In my opinion, this likeness might be the best, but the only thing about it is the face is always in this, like the possessed face, where he's got the red eyes and kind of like a shocked expression. Like, this is not the Louis before he's possessed. This is possessed Louis. It seems like they did a pretty good job of capturing the nuances of Rick Moranis' face here. You know, sometimes, like, even if they're trying to be too perfect, it comes off a little weird. Like, Dana, I don't think was the greatest likeness in this series. And, you know, I thought Diamond's was pretty bad for Louis. But I think this one looks really good. Originally, I wasn't going to get this because I figured they'd put out Louis in a standalone pack, probably in Series 2, with a different Build-A-Figure piece. You know, I think that the biggest selling point for this set was the extra terror dog. But I didn't care that much about that because I think that even though this is a pretty decent terror dog, and he looks okay. I think maybe the Diamond Select Terror Dogs are better. The faces especially, I think, are better. Although I think the body shape looks a lot nicer. The Diamond Select ones are a little wonky. But I figured, I might as well just pick it up. So I ordered it, and it came. And, I don't, now that I think about it, if they don't release a Louis toy, I'm glad I did it because, like I said, I think this one looks really good. The sculpt is very nice. The way that the shirt is buttoned and it's like, pulled out of the other shirt and it's untucked. The shirt underneath is untucked. All the folds and the clothing looks really nice. I thought the likeness on the Matty Louis was pretty good. But I always felt like he looked weirdly proportioned. Like his arms are like too long or like there's just something off about it. So, as usual with Hasbro figures, there's like no paint really on the body for Louis. So, in the movie, this blue shirt has like stripes on it. And they had that on the Matty figure, but this one does not have it. And I don't think that's, a deal breaker for me. I think it still looks very nice. Louis is a lot shorter than everybody else in the Ghostbusters movie. Rick Moranis is a tiny guy, but they did a really good job of shrinking his figure down, but, still making him look appropriate. I feel one of the biggest problems they had with the Matty figure was they shrunk him down, but they didn't get the proportions correct. Like maybe the arms were too long, or, maybe even the sculpt was just like a little different than the Ghostbuster figures. And I never thought he matched that great with them. But I think that this Louis really matches, Egon here and Dana. The folds and all the clothes look very consistent along each line, and all the head sculpts look very good. They all match, and they're all pretty good likenesses of the actors who played them. And one of the best things too, I think, with these Hasbro figures is how they did the glasses. Instead of putting like a separate piece on their heads, they decided to sculpt the glasses onto the heads, and I think it just looks a lot better that way. They did. Ooh, Egon's down. It just comes across really natural and looks like they fit on there very nice. They didn't put any lenses in, which is good too. They just painted the eyes inside, and the eyes on all of these are very, very good. Like those are little tiny dots for their irises, but they did a really great job with that. So here you have Louis standing next to his number one rival, Egon. Both of them are going after Janine somewhat. Or Janine's going after Egon. But if you think about it, don't you think it's kind of weird that Louis is supposed to be this super dorky character, right? And there's pretty much two female characters in both Ghostbuster movies. And Peter has an off and on thing with Dana, and Egon has an off and on thing with Janine. And Louis is made out with both of them. Think about that. This dude is doing way better than the Ghostbusters are doing. When it comes to articulation, Louis has got a pretty decent amount. His head can turn all the way around and look up and look down. You can move side to side. His shoulders have a hinge joint, and they can rotate all the way around. He has a rotation in his elbows, and he's got a hinge joint there too. His wrists can rotate, and they have one hinge joint. Now, the actual top of the outer shirt, the outer shirt, is a separate piece, I think, that's put on here. It feels like rubber, and I think the yellow shirt is the actual torso piece. He doesn't have any upper torso articulation, but none of the Ghostbusters or any other toys in this line had that, so, that's pretty consistent here. He does have a swivel in the waist, which is nice. His hips can rotate out here. They can rotate forward and back. Well, not really back. His butt stops it. He's got a cut in his thighs, so you can rotate them all the way around. He has double knee joints, but I'm not fond of these because they always look kind of strange when you have them like, you know. You can't bend them in a way that looks normal. So I always prefer single jointed knees. He has an ankle rocker. This one's a little tight. Well, there we go. And his ankles can rotate up and down. Now, when I pulled this out of the package, the way he's situated in there, this leg came out warped, which sucks, but what can you do? The deal is the leg is bent outward like this, so the top of the knee joint isn't flush with the thigh, and, you know, it just kind of makes it a little... you just have to work it a little extra to get him to balance upright. Louis comes with one accessory. He comes with this cool Colander helmet. Now, you'll remember this from the movie whenever Egon is studying him. And I love that part. I love when he rubs that pizza on his face. It's hilarious. You know, this looks very nice. It fits on his head nice. This chin strap works well. Doesn't feel brittle. Feels nice and maneuverable. So let's stare and compare at the new Hasbro Louis Tully figure and the old Matty Collector Louis, Vinz Clortho figure. Now, in my opinion, the Hasbro figure proportionately looks a lot nicer. I think the folds in the clothes look a lot more natural. And I think that the likeness looks very close to Rick Moranis without being weird. I think the Mattel one looks pretty good. You know that it's a Rick Moranis figure, and but I think that the likeness is a little bit more cartoony looking. It's almost like a caricature of Rick Moranis. Now, when it comes to like articulation, the new Hasbro one has a beat. One of the biggest problems with the Matty Vinz Clortho figure is that his legs don't have any kind of rotation in them whatsoever. They only have hinges in the knees and hinges in the ankles, and you know, the hips only rotate and can rotate this direction. So the problem with him is trying to get him to stand upright. And his feet don't rotate at all. They're supposed to have ankle rockers, and they kind of work, you know, going this way, but you cannot rotate them up and down because the pants stop the feet. So, and as I was saying before, like I was saying that I thought maybe the Rick Moranis arms on this one were too long. And I don't think that's the case, although I think that these hands are the same hands that they gave to the Ghostbusters. So the hands are a little bit too big for his body. And I think one of the biggest problems, too, is he doesn't have any shoulders. So he just looks very straight up and down, very stiff looking, where I think this Louis figure has a little bit more life to him, even though his colors are a little more muted, and this one are a little bit more vibrant. What else? Oh, yes. The feet here. The feet on this figure are huge. They are, I think, the same shoes that they used for the courtroom battle Ghostbusters. So even though he's a smaller figure, his feet are too big for his body. So I thought about it, and I figured out what the problem is. The problem is I think the forearm and the lower leg are parts to regular 6-inch figures, like, you know, maybe like the courtroom or any kind of suit figure from the Matty line, and they just made smaller thighs here. So the knee here, you know, it bends in a weird spot, making it look like he has gigantic shins. And I think that's kind of the same thing that's going on with the forearms. It's definitely going on with the hands. These are definitely like a Ghostbuster size hands. They didn't make these any smaller. And that's why this guy looks so weird, I think. The one thing that Matty really has going for it is that the accessories are a lot better. It seems like with the Matty figures, they were made by people who really wanted to do something special for the Ghostbusters. Like, they knew that people loved this movie, so they tried to throw in little extra bits and pieces, you know, to try to make it more exciting. Like, you have this Vinz Clortho dead head or whatever, and, you know, he comes with a cool jar of popcorn, and a nice piece of pizza that you can slide all over his face. But that's not all. The Matty figure also comes with this extra head with the Colander helmet. And in my opinion, I kind of like this Colander helmet a little better because it's a little bit more dynamic. I don't know if it's more screen accurate, but I like how, you know, it looks like a bunch of pieces are sticking off of it, and it looks more exciting. This one is very flat and round. You know, it's just like, it's just not very exciting looking. Like I said, I don't know if it's completely accurate or not. I'd have to check the movie and do a side-by-side reference. But at the moment, just by looking at these action figures, I think this Colander helmet looks a lot nicer. However, I think the Hasbro figure, just in general, looks better. And I think the likeness, you know, is a little closer to Rick Moranis. So here's a shot of both Lewises standing next to two Egon Spengler figures. You know, which one do you think looks best here? Do you think that the Mattel ones are still pretty good, or do you think that Hasbro is destroying the competition? I plan on doing a series of videos in the future comparing the Matty, Diamond Select, and Hasbro lines. So look out for that. It'll be coming soon. So now it's time to talk about the Terror Dog. Now, if you got the BAF, you'll notice that this is exactly the same as the BAF. Everything from the paint scheme to the sculpt. It's exactly the same. And unfortunately, that's a negative for this because in the movie, Zuul and Vinz Clortho have two different sized horns. Zuul should have shorter horns, and Vinz Clortho should have like horns like this. So if you got both of these, you pretty much just have two Vinz Clortho Terror Dogs. And, you know, that's not exactly movie accurate. However, this did, you know, give you a really good option here because, you know, if the Terror Dogs have been released twice before. Once NECA released them way back in 2004, and those cost like $300 now for a set of those. And Diamond just recently released Terror Dogs a couple years ago, but those have gone up in price too. They're not cheap. And both of those do have the actual different sized horns, which is, you know, pretty good for those. But, you know, this was a good option for you if you wanted a second Terror Dog and you didn't want to have to buy the whole Plasma series over again. You could just get them in this nice 2-pack for only $25 as opposed to like $120 and then trying to sell the action figures off for, you know, probably $30 by themselves loose. When it comes to articulation, you can open and close his mouth. Just a little stiff. Yeah, the head has a pretty nice joint. You can move it around. However, I kind of don't care for this joint. I don't like how, like, it's very gappy. I don't think the seam covers it that great, especially if you're looking at it from behind. The front legs here rotate around, and they have a hinge. The elbow joints rotate around and have a hinge. And the wrist joints, come on, they can rotate too, and they have a hinge. Now the hind legs don't rotate outward, which kind of stinks because I think that with a Terror Dog, a lot of times you want him to be like kind of close to the ground, you know, but you can't really do that. I guess maybe a little bit. You just gotta stretch him out a little bit. But so these don't rotate outward. They only rotate one direction. There's no knee joints the ankle joints rotate and they have a hinge, and the toe joints here rotate around and they have a hinge. Now I would the front feet I think look good in that you have like the two front feet and you have this, I don't know, I guess that would be like the thumb or something, I don't know. But that sticks out very nice. But the back feet, I don't think this spike should be down here more. It's kind of weird being where it is right now. This terror dog, he looks pretty good. I like the shape of his body. I think it actually looks kind of like the terror dog in the film, where he's kind of big and bulky. I just kind of don't like the paint scheme that they have on the back here. Like, I don't know why they painted it this like metallic silver, because it looks like he's metal. You know, I don't know if they were trying to make him look slimy or something like that, or like kind of, you know, it just doesn't work that great. Like, I almost kind of feel like maybe it would have been better if he was just if he didn't have any paint on him at all. He was just solid gray. But the details in the face, the eyes and the mouth and the teeth and the horns, they all look nice and clean, crisp. Okay, so if you have him standing next to the Diamond Terror Dog, he looks pretty good, except I think that the Diamond one, the color of it looks a little closer to the movie, where this is very dark gray, and this is kind of like a lighter gray. I just think it looks more movie accurate. However, I think the body is not the best. Like, he has a very scrawny pelvis, and that's not how he appears in the film. Like, if you look at him when he's in Lewis's apartment and he's crashing into the table and then he crashes into the wall, he doesn't look like this. The profile of this thing. You know, there's something off about this, where I think that this is very close to how the movie actually looks. But, you know, one of the detriments, or, you know, one of the bad things here is the face on the Diamond Terror Dog looks so much nicer than this face. It's a little wider. The mouth is a lot fuller. There's something about this where it looks too, like, squished. It doesn't look as much like the movie. So it's like you can't win. You know, what do you go with? Do you go with the better face, or do you go with the better body? In my opinion, I kind of lean towards the face. Not only that, but if you bought two Diamond Terror Dogs, the Diamond Terror Dog came with the extra set of horns, so you could switch them out and make it into the Zool Terror Dog. But I think, you know, if you're stuck getting this one, I think it's still a pretty good figure. You know, I think, in my opinion, the best ones are the NECA ones, but, you know, I never picked those up. I should have bought them years ago, but I didn't. And, you know, they just keep on going higher and higher in price. So there you go. Now, I was trying to get these guys to go down as low as I could with them, because I think in the movie, you know, most of the times you see the Terror Dogs, they were like laying down on their stomachs almost. Only whenever he's chasing Lewis and whenever they jump across the rooftop are they actually like standing. And, you know, proportionately, there's just, from looking at it ahead, you know, I think this one looks a lot better than this one does. I think that this one looks a little, like I said, too skinny. And I don't know. It's weird. I don't think there's a perfect Terror Dog here. But if you look at profile wise, this is a ton times nicer looking than the way this is. There's like the way that these arms are built. I think they're too long or something like that. And then these hind legs are just so tiny. They should be bigger. If you're a Ghostbusters fan, right now is a pretty exciting time to be alive. Next year we got a new movie coming out, and it looks like Hasbro is going to be pumping out a ton of new toys. And that's great because I think that the Plasma Series Ghostbuster toy line is pretty great so far. You know, the 4 guys look good. Dana looks okay. Gozer looks good. And this Rick Moranis Louis Tully figure looks great. I think it looks a lot like Louis. And, you know, now that we have all these human characters, Hasbro, give us more ghosts. I'm sure you're going to give us Slimer and Stay Puft, but, you know, give us a new library ghost. Give us a new taxi cab ghost or the sewer ghost. You know, if you want to, get started on Ghostbusters 2 and give me some new Scolari brothers. I've been dying for actual Scolari brothers that can actually move and pose with my Ghostbuster figures. So let me know what you think. I'm glad you thanks for watching. I plan on making some more videos, kind of going over what I think is the best Ghostbusters toy line to collect at the moment. You know, we had a pretty good line from Matty and Diamond, and this Hasbro line looks very promising. So I'm planning a very big series of Ghostbusters video trying to break down which is the best, like an ultimate comparison of movie Ghostbuster toys. You know, so check that out when I put that up. And I also plan on making a prediction video of what Ghostbuster toys I think will come out next year. And in my old videos, I have real Ghostbuster toy reviews of the Gooper Ghosts and soon to be an Ecto 1 review. So thanks for watching. Talk to you later.